Yeah, just so that we know if like one of us is loud as all get out.
Okay, real quick, I ain't even gonna lie.
Almost. Almost.
What happened to the top of the 2-liter that's under your bed? The cap on it.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
Just mute yourself for a second. So Icarus, just talk for a second. We'll get this underway.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Am I uber duper loud again for no reason? Please mute me.
I hope not.
I really hope I'm not.
I think I'm louder than you today. So
I moved my microphone away from my mouth as well here in hopes that maybe I'll fix it.
All right. Well, at least it's balanced. So if it is loud, somebody can just turn this down.
Awesome.
Alrighty, and then 10-4 will be here in a second. And we shall see if anybody joins us in the audience. Or on Twitch. Hello to anybody who is on Twitch.
We have friends.
We have friends. Theoretically, at least.
Oh, just theoretically? That's scary.
It's entirely theoretical.
Wait, Drex, you're not real?
I am not real, indeed.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a real big shock.
I knew this was all in my imagination.
It was all in your head, Icarus.
Oh man. That's
all
scary.
In your brain.
That's the last thing I need to hear.
And there's our notification on our Discord server. So I guess it's 7 now, so we can fly right into it to
alrighty.
To not be silly.
Alright. I've returned.
Oh, perfect.
He's back.
The man has returned.
Has returneth. He has returneth to the channel.
He's out of the void. We found him.
To any of you guys that are watching on Twitch or on Discord, can you just let us know if any of us are exceptionally loud, and then I can try and fix that before we get into the long part of the stream?
Also, if you say we're loud just for existing, that's understandable as well.
I thought that also fits.
Yes, that's completely fair.
Can understandable that.
Oh god. I actually hear myself on Twitch. Holy god.
Are you a good sound? Are you a bad sound? Do I need to turn you up or turn you down? I have Icarus at half volume right now.
Let the audio come through.
Okay, I'll put 10 down a little bit. How are we feeling about now? 10 forward, just speak.
Alright, I'm just going to speak right quick and let the sound come through. Okay, I think I sound better.
Okay, Potato thinks you're perfect, but Potato last time was the one who didn't flag us to Icarus sounding like fucking Odin.
Fair.
So
no, I sound awful, but the volume at least.
Nah, you're fine. I could put some audio adjustment on there, but I don't think it's what you really want.
Yeah, no more booming voice.
Invest in a better sound device.
Just invest in a better sound. Just that.
Yeah, just in general. I just need to invest.
Just invest, brother. That's the key. Just invest.
We have invested. Our souls are in this game. That's the problem.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look. I'm a ginger. Mine intrinsically has no value.
Oh, good. Shit. Okay, we're already starting with those. So moving right along. As you guys can see, we're not trying to stream this one in-game. In-game has been fun the last couple times, but in our community, we just had, I think, 5 or 6 hours of people in-game straight. So we're trying a format where we don't go in-game. As you can see, there's our logo and this beautiful audio visualizer that somewhat works.
It's a work in progress. It's very suiting for the
Fantastic.
game topic.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I set it up in the last 7 minutes, so for
Honestly,
7 minutes it's
impressive.
probably decent.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, right. 7 minutes, it makes life pretty easy.
It makes Valk's brain happy, so that's good.
Okay, good. It makes the brain happy, even if you're watching something that doesn't have much substance.
We like that. That's the feedback we want.
Yes, we
Exactly.
like brain happy, brain no happy.
Not
Keep it simple.
mic feedback. Mic feedback bad,
Oh no.
That's not a good ton of feedback.
but community feedback.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
brother, community feedback would be A plus.
All right, well, good to see that we're already stagnating as a podcast. This is great.
Well, and we managed to find 10 forward. He got unlost. His map started working again.
Yeah, crazy. You know how it
Exploration
is.
lead.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, I was exploring beyond, known space, so stuff gets wonky out there.
Stuff indeed
fair.
does get wonky. All right, I'm going to once again try and kick the show off here. We just keep rambling because we didn't technically have a plan for this week, so it's going to be a jumble of Squadron 42. Oh, hey, look, there's an Idris. More Squadron 42. Just kind of that stuff. We were hoping to have a lore episode, but we're going to push that to next week just because we need a little bit more time on it.
You can
Unforeseen
blame that on me.
circumstances.
Unforeseen circumstances.
It's the pirate gang known as the Waffle House.
Yeah, the Waffle
It-
House has stopped us.
It was a certified 10 forward moment. Just completely.
There we go. Oh, are we going to start bringing LBL memes into here?
I mean, we might as well.
The lore episode didn't happen because 10 forward's bad at games.
10 forward's bad at games.
Just 10 forward's bad at games.
Wonderful. No, we'll save that for LBL Gaming channel.
Yeah, that'll be what'll happen. People will be able to see when we stream games how bad at games 10 forward is, and they can make their own judgments.
Exactly. Let the people have a voice.
The people
They'll
will
be
have their voice.
You're gonna be the judge, jury, and executioner if you give them that.
It won't be a nice voice, I don't think, but it will be a voice.
It'll be a voice.
So I was asked by a viewer of the last podcast if we could do a better job of explaining who we are at the beginning of each show. So I'll go over myself and then you guys just fall in line afterwards, I guess. So I'm Drex. I'm the director of Lifeboat Logistics, host of the podcast, and depending on who you ask, the God Emperor.
Oh
And
man.
then I'll throw it over to one of you guys.
Icarus, I'll let you take it since I did it last time.
Well, first off, I'm going to start off with Tom saying server daddy, because that's a good one.
That is...
Drex,
You
you're
know
server
what?
daddy.
I am
You
server
know what?
daddy.
That's it. That's officially it.
I'll have to change
But,
my title.
But I'm Icarus. I am the combat division lead for LBL. I tend to run a lot of events for basically anything combat, from bunkers to air. And just like we recently did with Salvage, we run escort to make sure that no NPCs or players come along and steal our stuff. So that's
They do
really
that.
my position. Oh yes, they do. they
do that a lot.
try. Surprisingly, they do. It happens more often than I was expecting, but it's a thing. But that's really my role in the community, and I will pass it on to 10 forward here.
Mr. Gets
Just
Lost.
pass it on to me. Hi, I'm 10 Forward. I am our exploration and science division lead. I kind of just hang around.
Get lost.
Read the map wrong.
Yeah, reading the map wrong. No, right now, not a lot going on in the game and within the community and that sort of things. We focus more on the medical side of gameplay. Obviously, it's going to change in the near future. I'm very excited about that. Stuff to talk about on the podcast later on. But for the most part, I just act as yet another supervisor, do some events, hang out with the community, play the game. Overall, I'm here. I'm here as a comedic relief.
He's here for a
He's
good
the
time.
one. He's the one who is, in quotes, bad at games.
That's what I'm here to do.
So we're getting our aliases on the stream real quick and easy. We've got 10 forward, who is bad at games, Drex, who is server daddy, and we need something to come up with for Icarus.
Oh God, no!
Now your fate is going to be sealed by the community.
Also, you just gave that to them. That's what scares me the most.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I like that one for 10. Master of Warhammer stuff.
Master of
Or
Warhammer.
Map Daddy.
Look,
Idris boy for me.
Idris boy.
Idris boy. Idris boy is good.
Now with that, I'm going to segue super fast so that we don't just ramble for the first half hour of the stream into the news of the week. Actually, we had quite a bit come from it was the leak community, which, like, I know some groups don't affiliate and they don't want to show that stuff off, but
Take it with a grain of salt.
I would say take it with a grain of salt, and if it happens, it happens. So Pipeline, little shout out to them, because they require you to do that when you talk about stuff they post. I don't want to be DMCA'd by them. They posted a video. What would it have been? It would have been on Thursday. It was 13 minutes of the Idris capital ship, just like in its glory, just somebody walking through it. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, then I'll let you go first because I have too much.
It's gonna be a long one for you. I enjoyed it. I sat down and watched the full thing. Pretty much as soon as I got the ping that it had been uploaded. It is fantastic. Granted, I'm not as much of an Idris lover as like Icarus
Idris Wolf. There we
Yeah,
go. It's
there
happened.
you go. That's it.
I love it.
Not as big on it as Icarus, but it's definitely spectacular to see it. A ship that's technically been in game for a minute, but now actually seeing it fleshed out more than just a shell. And just watching the video was great to look at it and think of the possibilities. Like, I know I mentioned the Icarus already. I'm excited to just like I'm an awful combat pilot, but I can't wait to come flying out of the hangar in something and just be a problem. Probably for my wingman, but
Come flying out of the hangar. That's strong words. Are you sure you will not clip the front door?
Come limping out of the hangar. We'll put it that way.
The ship will leave the hangar.
They just got a bigger gun. It's 10 forwards debris.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's his Aurora.
Man.
With that, it's kind of just my general idea. I'm excited to look forward. I'm excited to look forward to it. I'm very excited, looking forward to it. I just can't wait to explore it. It's just more ship to look at, and I like pretty spaceship. So
No, I'm with it.
That's honestly fair.
And
I guess I'll let Icarus.
I say I'll go next before he takes the show for the next 15 minutes. I know Idris Wolf will take the show for the next 15 minutes.
Just shoot me at some point.
Yeah, we'll get to the point where you've talked for 20 minutes about the Idris, and I'll just mute you, and we'll see if you keep talking by the end of the stream. No, so like the Idris stuff we've seen has been absolutely ridiculous. I think just knowing that the ship is, like, I don't want to say complete because that's maybe stepping a little too far, but knowing that it is so much further complete than it was even a year ago. is ginormous. And that somebody technically got it in engine is a ginormous step forward. Now, again, technically, CIG don't kill us. We're not showing the footage. We're just talking about it. It wasn't supposed to come out. The person wasn't supposed to have the stuff. But to have somebody walk around it was just, it was exceptional. And I'll let. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna just make a comment off of what you were saying there. I guess this is one of those times it's important to remember that it is, with stuff like this as a leak, there's no guarantee that this is actually what's going to end up being in game. There's no guarantee this is 100% what we're seeing, because this could be very old footage that just now made its way around. Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and admittedly, to that point, I'll segue. Well, I won't segue yet because Icarus still has to talk about the ship in and of itself. But we do have a second video to talk about in which we can kind of see the age of the model they've pulled. But before we get into that, I will let Icarus go absolutely ballistic about what he thinks about the Idris.
Okay, I'm going to try to make it simple. I'm going to try to make it short and sweet so we're not here forever. I promise I'll do my best. Please don't kill me. But seeing it finally in full and up close, besides a just go blow this up ship for bounty missions or even the critical threats, it's to me, honestly, it's something special. We have air quote capital ships, but they're not. When you think of a capital ship, you think of a battle cruiser. Like, I think of like a Star Destroyer or something. Getting inside one of these finally with, size 9 turrets, like multiple battle stations, the engineering gameplay in it is going to be awesome. And then on top of that, size 10 gun, it's going to be a far different experience than we've ever had with other, like, quote-unquote larger ships. This thing is an actual battleship that will have, and a fighter hangar. That's, I mean, like I said, I know we have some where we could land a single ship in it, but these, you could, and again, this is all with a grain of salt as far as I know, unless this is true, Drex, but being able to land in them, rearm, repair, refuel, and everything, and send the ship back out for air support is, I don't know, to me, that's it. That's not in the game yet. We haven't seen that before. We haven't been able to do that as a group. That's going to be amazing.
No, and just to catch what Swerve said in chat, technically the turret on the Idris is a size 7. Size 9, I think, is like, that's what you get on the Javelin.
Okay.
But regardless, yeah, on clarification of the hangar, from everything we've been told, the Idris should be able to field at least 3 fighters. It's supposed to be able to, but who knows, right? CIG is going to decide next week that the Idris can only hold like a single baguette in the hangar, and that'll just be it. They'll have this giant room, 1 baguette in the middle of the floor.
You could put exactly 1 Pico plushie in the hangar.
Exactly 1. But a singular Pico plushie.
I don't know. I got a feeling that they would hit us with the hey, the reason it's taken so long to get it to you guys, we've actually doubled the size of the Idris.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that missile room? That missile room alone that you haven't seen for 5 years. It's there. We were actually just building it into its own ship. So like bigger on the inside. It's a second Idris's worth of space. And you go through time dilation to get there. That's the twist in Squadron 42, is that the Idris is actually just the TARDIS.
There's actually a Javelin in the Idris.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Alright, so
I'll end my ramble there.
Yeah, so to get him started again, like a lawnmower pulling the cord again, that was one of the 2 pieces of news we got in the Idris this week. I would love to have showed them off, but again, we don't want to show off leaky stuff, and a lot of the stuff we got this week for news was just text, so like, there wasn't a point for me to pull up a browser and get all that set up. But second video came out yesterday. Was that same Idris in flight with the doors opening to the hangar. We saw the door to the Argo Bay open, and I think that's super cool. I want to talk a little bit about that. And then just the flight experience from the cockpit. I won't lie, didn't look like the most enjoyable flight experience, but it's a capital ship, so go nuts. 10, I'll throw it to you again, just so that we keep similar order and let Captain Idris over there speak last.
That's fair. Yeah, just while because it's the freshest topic on my mind, the cockpit view. I mean, to be fair, you're not there to enjoy the views. You're there to help some folks open their minds with that railgun on the front. It definitely has the bridge of a capital / battleship, and not the best view, but I absolutely love the way it's set out, the design of it, and I loved seeing the hangar. For the longest time, I never really paid attention much to the Idris until I myself, not long ago, got my hands on the 3D model and I was playing around with looking. Never actually realized that the hangar was in the front and it opened up. And getting to see that action happen and then see the inside of the hangar, that is extremely exciting because I'm a massive fan of ships. I do all sorts of little model ships in my own time. I love it, and so it's just so cool to see that thing, quote unquote, in flight, and then get to see the bridge and the flight deck and the hangar. It still doesn't make me like, oh my god, the Idris, but it is cool to see it, and it definitely bodes well for capital ships going forward, because once it's kind of like I've noticed a lot with this game, getting the big stuff in, it's like pulling teeth. It's not a fun experience, but once it's in there, it makes getting the other stuff in a lot easier. So I'm definitely excited to see other caps come in probably pretty close after the Idris.
And it truly is the hero capital ship of the game. That's another thing that gives me high levels of confidence. Just to like jump in, I think it has the possibility to either be the new goalpost for ships coming in, or it in and of itself is going to be miles above anything else that comes in for the next little while. There's a 50-50 on that, because it definitely surpasses the 890, which was the first capital ship in game. Or like if you want to technically say the Reclaimer was the first capital ship in game, you can. But the Idris, hailing from admittedly a longer time ago than either of those ships, it's very interesting to watch how it's developing and how good it's become over what feels like at least 3 or 4 internal iterations of the ship.
Well, and you also got to remember that I know over the last little while they've talked about doing gold standard passes on a lot of older ships in game, and I feel like once ships like the Idris get in, and we kind of have this base of, all right, this is the way ships are going to be in this game moving forward. It'll give them a much easier time to go back and look at older ships and say, okay, we can just do this, and this to bring it up to spec. And I feel like we're going to see a lot of not necessarily major overhauls of older ships, but we're going to see some pretty nice updates to get everything sort of up to that level, especially after Squadron's release, and they can just full bore on Star Citizen.
Yeah, of course. And I know he's been itching, just absolutely itching to say something. So, Icarus, what do you think about that second video now?
I've been good. I've been sitting quietly. Damn it, Ted.
No, floor is yours, brother.
But actually, to add to your the polish pass and everything for these, I think one of the biggest things is the smaller ships are far easier to work on. And I feel like one of the big reasons we haven't seen anything up till now on the Idris is getting those smaller ships done lets them go, hey, this is where we want to be. We're finally there. Now they could kind of one and done these interiors on the capital ships. Because I can't imagine having to go through and remodel the Idris, the Kraken, the Polaris over and over and over, like say they have for some of these other ships. That would be a nightmare.
You couldn't do 5 variants. I think, what are we at for the Constellation? Somebody in chat or in the Discord will tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we're at Constellation Mark IV and like staring down the barrel of a possible Mark V. And you just couldn't do that to the Idris, even though they've probably done it internally. You couldn't give us an Idris to re-release the same ship every single year because they've updated the tech every single year.
I mean, that's the thing
It's
is
a lot of ship.
we've seen, everyone's seen videos of people getting into the Idris and piloting it for a while when it had no interior. I'm sure it's been like that for a very long time. Physically, the ship is there, but there's actually nothing in it. From the video that we saw, actually seeing the internals of it being there, functioning doors, I wish functioning missile bay that we could have seen, that would have been awesome, but
The one
we did
room
not.
we've never seen.
The secret room, it's a lie. It doesn't actually exist.
No.
But
There's nothing in there. That would be the funniest part, is you walk into that room and there is nothing. Like, there is a chair, a server rack, and a terminal, and that's everything that's in the room.
they could totally just put a chair in there with just a plushy missile and just
One
leave it on the
Pico.
floor. Yeah.
To quote Val.
They could go really meta, and I know y'all will know this, and probably a lot of people listening, but the original Black Ops Call of Duty, where you could get out of the chair and then go play Dead Ops Arcade.
Yes.
It's just that, but
that room.
with the old Wing Commander games.
Oh my
That would be
goodness.
funny.
That would be funny.
But the big thing is, I think it is truly something special, especially after you've been playing the game for a while. Seeing a ship that large and realizing you're walking down the hallway of quite possibly one of the largest ships we're going to get. And it's a special feeling. And just from the video alone, seeing it of, hey, this is how far it's come, this will be in your hands soon, is phenomenal. Doesn't really put the correct amount of emphasis on it, I feel.
Well, let's be real here, right? Like, ships we fly today, it will take you, I'll say, give or take a minute or so to get from one end of the ship entirely to the other. And that's 50-50. But this Idris video, holy crap, it takes him 13 minutes to walk around, and that's 13 minutes of him not setting foot in the same room, and he's kind of hustling. Like, there's a lot he's missed, but 13 minutes to get around the ship is ridiculous. I think it's great, but it's ridiculous.
And looking at everything that's within the ship, like the medical bay, the hangar, the idea that you're going to be able to support your org with these ships inside it's a cool thought of, I don't have to go back to the space station to repair my fighter. I could just go back to, quote unquote, the mothership and, repair, refuel, and go on my merry way.
Of course.
So, I guess 2 things, because my ADHD will let me forget one of them at least. One, like you were saying, Icarus. I almost called you Idris again. The org support will be spectacular for the Idris, and for the stuff coming later, which segues into my second point and piggybacking off of Swerve. We also have to remember the Kraken, and eventually the Endeavor, and then of course the Orion. Even bigger capital ships that we're going to see will double down on that org support to a point where, I know Drex, you have your Kraken, you've got your Kraken parked out in deep space. That's home base. That's
Yeah.
that's where the magic happens. You go and come from there, refuel repairs you need, and then of course your Orion and Endeavor being able to do the things they can do. It just we don't even want to get started on the whole base building potential for that. But
Oh, it's
hard to
crazy.
it's hard to wrap your mind around this stuff because we've been at such a smaller ship mentality for a while that the idea of like we could put the Idris and the Kraken out in deep space somewhere and people in our org could come back and do everything they need there and have our own little hub for lifeboat logistics is such a cool thought. And then on top of that, the base building, like you said.
yeah, and like you said, hard to wrap your head around it, especially knowing that so much of these things are within the next year, at
Yeah.
least in some form, are going to be. Even if it's like tier 0, to some degree, is going to be in game.
All right. So with that being, I guess, our week's news, unless there's anything else we've missed, I don't think there's been anything else like
No, as far as I know, no.
extreme.
That's,
CIG's
that's the
still
big
technically
stuff.
off.
Just taking a look, there's just some small patch notes for the EPTU, so nothing
Yeah.
new there. That's stuff that's right around the corner, but they're just doing touch up, polishing, making sure it actually works before they send it out.
Yeah, a couple new ships, or I guess not new ships, but a couple ships have been worked on. We got that in the monthly report, I think last week. The Polaris, I believe, is going into. I think it's going into gray box. I can't remember the order. I'm trying to think which one's first, which one's second. It's moving into internal modeling though. Gray box. There's our resident
Yeah.
Polaris guy. Yeah, so it's going to gray box.
I'm just laughing because I keep seeing sort of Polaris, and then Polaris Gray Box.
The Saber Raven has gone into work for its gold standard pass. I know, like personally, as an owner of one, very excited to see that. I know a couple other owners that are like super interested in seeing that. And then there's a bunch of variants that we have no idea.
I am still looking forward to the announcement and subsequent release of whatever the hell the unidentified shadow ships were at IAE.
Yep, and lots of them were very interesting.
I know a
Yeah,
couple have made their debut. Obviously, the X1, is now in game. And that was one of the shadowed quote unquote ships. But there's some other interesting ones there, and I'm itching to get my hands on the Zeus stuff, even though I know it's going to be a hot minute.
Exactly.
That
To take a question from our Twitch chat.
yeah, that's actually a good one.
What are the odds Star Citizen will add animals, i.e., fish for aquariums, dogs, cats for pets, and other wild animals? Good news there, and we could probably go on for ages. In the CitizenCon demo, running on, I assume it's an updated version of the build, they did have space cows that were functional. I don't know if they were really walking around. They kind of existed. I know that that's planned by the end of the year, and Swerve thanks to the catch because I was forgetting what patch it was. But there was dog AI found in the files for the 3.20 patch. So technically, there is some dog AI in the files that we're like playing the game with now. Which who knows what that means?
The thing
also,
is, go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say also. Okay. Swerve says creatures Deployment 3.23. I believe it. Granted, we don't know when 3.23 is going to drop. That's probably a good bit away. But still, to piggyback on Taub, base whales, if you've spent any time on Orison, you know the storm walls. They were in one of the videos for IA. Was it IAE this year? Yeah.
It was CitizenCon, wasn't it?
CitizenCon.
CitizenCon. Okay, man, I don't know where I'm at. The storm walls were in one of the CitizenCon videos. I am such a massive fan of them. We're getting space whales, quote unquote, soon. TM.
Yeah.
Whalers on the moon.
Exactly. Point being, though, animals are coming, and pretty quick.
And I find the dog AI that they found interesting because they haven't denied or confirmed pets or anything in the game yet. Which, if they weren't gonna do something like that, they just say no. At this point, they would just be like, "No, we're not doing that. Sorry." They seem to be as excited to add animals and wildlife as we are to see it. So I could only imagine there's someone in there working on giving us, pets for our ships, or even with all the persistent hangars coming up in our own habitations, I could see them giving us animals for home.
Yep. Even if it just sits in the corner and walks around, right? That's a step above.
Yeah.
I would love to see a massive aquarium in my personal hangar.
That would be cool.
Fantastic.
Get a giant wall.
Yes.
So segueing once again, since we did promise a bunch of members of our community that gave us feedback the last couple days, we would try and be active with you guys as well as like us just speaking at the screen. If anybody else has any news from this week or any like Star Citizen things they want to bring up, throw them in either the Twitch chat or actually, rather, if you're in our Discord, throw them in our Boathouse chat, and we might be able to bring you up and have a quick conversation with you about these things. Give you the floor.
Also, one quick side note that came out today that I feel like is really important: Squadron 42 single player is now feature complete. It is.
Yeah,
The fact that it's done and it's feature complete is very exciting.
Exactly.
It's no longer a soon TM. We're about to release the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
it's
like realistically, one, to give credit, two, to keep people kind of like held back. I think the big thing to remember for Squadron is it is at the spot where most games going into final review that are like this size are still about a year out. So just because it's feature complete, I want to like remind everybody on the stream that doesn't mean that it is like Squadron 42 tomorrow. It means in context, like this is the same spot where Grand Theft Auto would be feature complete and then still a year out.
True.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Keep your expectations and don't freak out. But also to give a little more push to the excitement, you got to remember the Star Citizen time scale as well. That 1 year is nothing compared to the development time we've seen.
It feels like they're telling us at this point, hey, in 1 hour you're gonna have this. Like, I know it's not the case in the slice. We could still be a year or maybe even a little more out. But in that aspect of things, it's nothing. We are in the countdown to actually see Squadron 42, and that alone is exciting, seeing the progress of, hey, this is done. We are ready for this to go. We're just waiting for the connected pieces. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, of course. And ships are being updated, ships are being made. Newer Squadron ships are getting brought out. Like all of these things are they just are coming to fruition, and the brands that are not happening are like happening behind the scenes. We didn't get a lot of ships last year, but seeing the amount of work on the Polaris, just to say it and get Swerve to cream himself, um, like these ships are all ginormous and they're all like giant ships. And to reference what Swerve said, yes, we did have a lot of ships. I was more meaning that we didn't have large ships. It was all very small stuff. Like we got 3 different versions of the cutter. Great little ship, but like nothing different when you get a cutter 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
Also, quick side tangent: the Rambler should have been the cutter base.
Should have
Like
been.
that should have been the cutter base. Anyway, that's we could bring that up on another day and get more in depth into that. But
Yeah, I want to have a ships episode where we just talk garbage about ships.
Man,
That's
let
gonna
me
be
tell
a
you.
that'll be a good one.
There's a
Let me tell you, the
lot
Saber
of
in
things.
general, awful fighter.
Bad, just
Saber
awful
is
fighter.
an awful fighter.
I see him in the Twitch chat. Don't you dare!
Yeah,
Like,
you
know,
did it.
like, quick thing, Tom. That's a good idea. We should use that as a title. LBLIAE. I like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and hopefully
That'd be
for
great.
Invictus, we can have something like that as well, because there will be very high amounts of news for that. We might be able to have a double length episode and still not be able to fill everything.
Oh my god.
I know one of like my personal issues right now is I'm chomping at the bit to just talk about everything, but I have to keep reminding myself this isn't like a 5-episode podcast and we're done. There's going to be plenty of time to talk.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And
Well,
there's
that's the big thing.
there's so much to touch on as well. Even just the past year has given us so much, and the amount of stuff we're having dropped very soon here is content overload.
Yeah, and I think some ships they will require whole episodes, or at least like most of an episode. Like if we say got the Idris, I don't know, in a month, I think we could dedicate a whole episode to the Idris entirely.
I mean, yeah, it's such a big like step in the community and in the game. I don't think it'd be an issue.
And you actually just gave me an idea here. I'm curious to hear from the community here as well. When these larger ships come out, would you like us to do an episode inside them, checking them out, or maybe we could do something with that?
Maybe more interaction with the community, doing some exploration of the new ships with the community, especially if it's the Idris and larger. It's not like we're going to run out of space.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do some ship exploration and experimentation. I think having episodes that are what fits in what as a story, I think that would be actually hilarious.
It's always a fun game to see being played in the community. Anytime a new ship is released, I remember when the Corsair finally released, or when the Spirit series released, or what fits, and seeing people trying to figure that out. But with the Idris and larger, it's going to be even better. Can we shove a Connie Andromeda into the Idris hangar bay? Probably not, but it's going to be fun to try and find out.
Yeah, you can once.
Exactly. So
Man, with all the ships coming out here and all the information, there is a ton to go over and talk about. I have to try to, like you said, I have to try to keep my head in line of, hey, I have to stay focused on this topic, but man, I want to go off on this.
It's taken a lot, because that's one of the things I love to do. That's why I'm nervous about the lore episode next week. I know me. I'm gonna need to. I need to be put on a leash for many reasons, but I just want to talk and be excited.
Yep.
Yeah,
I feel that.
I don't blame you there. I think this lore episode, everybody that isn't sure what is gonna go on for the lore episode should strap in, because I am not to not to put Tem forward on the chopping block, but knowing his interest in the lore, I'm guessing he'll be able to start talking at 7, and it could likely be 9, even 10 o'clock before he's finished if we didn't like put a timer on him.
Yes. Yeah. All right, yeah. That's all
I think
got
you guys
for
are going to enjoy it because it's just going to be very very in depth.
I'm personally excited as well because I know a bit of lore in the game, but this is going to be like my lore dive, and I'm pointing fingers at you right now, Ten. I still blame you for my Warhammer interest.
You'll be okay, buddy.
Oh no, more lore. Let's segue back over to Star Citizen because that I know is a conversation that'll take us.
Yep, no, we're moving on.
That could take us all week.
But I did see back here in the chat a little bit that I feel like this actually is a small important topic as well. Is the turret update?
The turret update for which?
The turret. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yep.
Because that's gonna be a game changer. Because it's a big difference.
Yeah, that is going to be. So for anybody that doesn't know, in the PTU currently, turrets have been changed entirely. I believe that's what we're talking about. Yes. All turrets have been given more damage, higher fire rate, and more durability, which, in the idea of like protecting stations and things, current station turrets are entirely gutless, so we needed that. But like Val just said in our Discord chat, the turret sees you before you can see it. It technically has a firing range beyond the range in which it spawns in. So when you spawn the turret, you have to run. You have to run further than it was when it spawned in. And they can kick your butt because they've got so much more strength. Which again, stations, brilliant. Bunkers, not so much.
I am glad to see that though, just because it's going to make things more interesting. Like you're saying with bunkers, definitely no more. Well, I won't say no more, but it does make it a little more difficult to just roll up in a decently sized ship and just sit there soaking up the fire while you take out the turrets. It's not going to be that easy anymore. But also, like you were saying with like stations, I remember the other day I read on in the Star Citizen Reddit, there was a post about some groups who were blockading a station, and the turrets did absolutely nothing against them shooting anyone that came near, because regardless of their crime stat, the turrets just were not enough of an issue to deter them from. I mean, obviously not. Okay, sure, it's a major conversation in the group. No, I'm not going to say griefing, because PvP is encouraged in the game, but it definitely was an interesting thing to read, knowing that these stations have these point defense systems and stuff to keep them safe. But a couple players can just come up in some fighters and decide, nope, this is ours. So knowing that that's going to change, pretty exciting.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off what you said there, I do feel like hubs, like planetary landing stations, everything, that is where you should technically be safe. But
yeah,
it is still encouraged in the game of people, going on an attack run or something to kill someone coming out of a station. While it's not technically wrong, it is way too easy right now. There is zero risk to it. You can just do it if you feel like it.
I feel that's one of people's biggest gripes when it comes to stuff like that, especially considering a griefing, is just it's so easy to do. But if the risk started outweighing the reward, I feel like we'd see a lot less of it without CIG having to come in and do some sort of extreme moderation to servers. Like, just
Yeah.
change some things about how the universe works in game, and it'll sort itself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if this is maybe just a band-aid right now to deal with that. And I'm hoping they'll touch that more in the future because in a sense, I am worried about bunker turrets because if someone's new to the game and they are going down to do bunkers, that's not just going to be a surprise. They're going to be gone before they even knew what hit them.
I was to say, Redeemers are getting blown away. It's
Yeah.
it's wild. I saw a video yesterday of somebody like trying out the new turrets in a Redeemer, and they flew up and tried to shoot the turrets down. It was like, I think it was like 12 seconds, and they were out of shield and needed to run, and that was a Redeemer. That's some of the bigger shields in the game.
It's a gunship. It's meant to take damage and dish it right back out.
Yeah, it was astonishing to me.
But also, in a sense, I can understand because now this will give ground vehicles more of a use and a reason, but also bombers as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I was actually about to say that is ground vehicles become more prevalent because that's the safe way in. But, and of course, seeing, I think Swerve mentioned it in one of the chats, fixing the A1 issue, carpet bombing the bunkers to deal with these turrets before the main group comes in. That's going to be fun to see.
And actually, someone earlier we're talking about this. Actually, Roy mentioned this. The ability to do a flyby with a vehicle and drop a ground vehicle onto the base and destroy the turrets with a ground team is also a good idea.
Oh yeah. Although, didn't they make some changes to the PTV where it's no longer the fun drop pod it used to be?
No, unfortunately, the PTV had a lot of changes actually. In changing its damage coefficients. Look at me saying big words. Changing its damage stats for the buggy racing track so that it was a little bit more resilient. They changed some other stats that were essentially meaning that if it landed at certain angles, it would be entirely indestructible. That changed. So, like, it used to be basically anywhere you landed on it, it was indestructible. You just fire it out the back of another ship, and it'll hit the ground eventually, and the person inside will live. But it's not like that anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Those were fun times.
Yeah, that's another thing with like ground vehicles like hover bikes that I wish we could do, but any sort of jump on a hover bike right now is just asking to die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I used to love playing around with the I almost called it a firefly, the dragonfly. But like you said, with the changes, of course, because the X1 came in with the changes to like no shielding on these bikes, they're just, if they weren't already made of paper, now they're soaking wet paper.
Yeah, it's a wet paper bag.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be interesting getting all this into more of the community's hands, and I think people are going to have to get a little more creative when it comes to hostile bunkers here. It's going to be interesting. We haven't experienced it yet, so I can't say from firsthand experience, but it shouldn't be a chore either to have to go do your mission.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think since we are just under 10 minutes left of our estimated time, we'll take this last, arguably pretty large conversation topic that's in stream chat, and we'll elaborate on that. Each of us will go through as we've done in other episodes, just give our feedback, give our opinions, have a little bit of a chat, and then we'll wrap the show up. So the question we got, it was a long one, so I'm going to try and condense it as I read here. But it was based around hiring NPCs and the whole gameplay loop and like paying them, costing cash to hire them, like what they can do, what kind of skills you'll need them to have, things like that. If anybody else wants to go first, while I formulate what I'm thinking, that's awesome. Or I could just spit it out like the garbage I've already been saying.
Ten up to you. Want to go first here? Or do you want me to take it?
Yeah, no, I can throw some words out.
Or-
Most folks who keep up with the game pretty well know that is coming in the future, hopefully near future. The concept of having like AI gunners on your ship, I think, will be the quote unquote tier 0 implementation. But I know that bringing NPCs to some degree onto your ship to perform various tasks is in the works. I'm very excited for it, especially with these massive capital ships, because when you're running around in a Kraken and you need, 40 crew, but you have 3 people online, yeah, sure. You're going to need some turret gunners. You're going to need some engineering folk, and it'd be nice to have different NPCs around the different systems, which I think that'll become way more prevalent once we have more than just one system. And you're able to find different NPCs with like within the question with certain skills to be able to do different things, and they're better at one thing than another thing. It's going to be really fun to balance all that, and I really hope that when that time comes, CIG can put the work and effort into it to make it to make it feel like the universe isn't so empty like it is now.
Hmm.
So I think it'll be great. I'm very excited for it.
And we'll
And
throw out to Icarus then.
let's say one of the things for me is playing other previous space games, like even Elite Dangerous added the ability to have AI come on your ship and act as a fighter for some of the bigger ships. Now, it wasn't super in-depth, but they could level up, get better, and everything. I'm kind of hoping to see something like that here, where you can hire NPCs and bring them on, and as they pilot, with you, turret, gun, engineer, they can level up in those areas. But there's so much micromanaging in Star Citizen already. I feel like hunting for that person with the exact stats you want is layer that I don't necessarily want to see, but I'm hoping you could put them in certain spots and they could grow over time. Now, that is one thing I didn't think about that they mentioned in the question. If they die, are they dead or not? And the whole thing is, we have the lore in game talking about, when you die, you're not really technically dead. We come back and there's a whole shebang behind all that, but I'm thinking maybe downtimes for the crew, so there's a reason to, hire more people. I would really like to see us keep crew around and, have them specialize, grow, and become better. But I'm not sure I necessarily want them to be quote unquote better than having another person on.
Yeah, to
That's
to
fair.
jump on that there, I think the NPCs, hiring them like as somebody who has spent an exorbitant amount on capital ships, I think it's going to be like necessary, but I do want them not to be nearly as strong as players. Like they just can't. To see an NPC that's a turret gunner outgun most players would be very. I think it would be uncomfortable, and maybe that person would have more of a chance of permadeath than others. Because technically, the way CIG has been talking about things is your DNA implant is how you respawn, or imprint is how you respawn. So the more your DNA is used, the less you can spawn off of said DNA.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
in
it's
theory, like Jeff from State Farm, who is just man who know how to shoot pistol, he probably has a lot of lives left in him. But I don't know a name for like the super hard ass Rambo type, but guy who's
Right.
been through multiple wars, like you could give him any gun and he's gonna hit like a pop can off of a ship 2 kilometers away. Like that guy probably will die, and he's gone.
Chad McChatterson.
Yeah, like he'll die and he'll be gone. So you'll need to be able to like use that NPC intelligently or like sparingly. If he's just
Yeah.
the best at everything, maybe you put him on a shield generator position where like your chances are 1 in 1,000 the shield generator just explodes and takes him out one day, as opposed to putting him on the front line where like an A2 bomb is just going to be the end of him in 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting area because we know what's coming. They've mentioned it. I don't want them to be garbage, but I don't want them to be like, I'm scared to approach a ship because if they have NPC gunners, I'm dead.
Yeah, because then you get the guy that plays solo, doesn't have an org or anything, but he manages to have enough money that he can fully stock his ship with top of the line NPCs, and so where's the fun in that?
Yeah, Mr. Money Glitch will be flying around with a hammerhead full of like military war veterans, and he'll just use them like they're tissues.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas me and the boys jumping in a hammerhead just cannot. We don't get off the ground because we're not, special.
Shoot the guns at the floor, right? It'll make you take off.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think NPCs, to wrap the NPC conversation up, because we've hit 8, it's cool. I think they're going to be more important for menial tasks and things that like a player may struggle to do or may just not have any interest to do. My best example for that one is what would it be? It would be managing a power plant, the upkeep of a power plant. That would be my example.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to walk by this thing every 5 minutes and be like, is it at 100%? Is this bolt tightened? Blah, blah, blah. I'd rather have an AI just deal with it.
Exactly.
So, on that, unless you guys have anything else to say on the topic, I think it's a good time to wrap ourselves up for this week.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to add to that.
No, same here. I think I'm all good.
Anything else from our Discord chat? No?
I do want to... Talb likes box. Okay.
Talb likes box.
Okay. We know that. Carrier pigeon. Like we said earlier, and yes, Swerve Polaris.
No,
like
it's
we
not
said
Polaris,
earlier.
it's Polaris.
Yeah, it's Polaris. Yeah, you're right. Nah, you messed that up, buddy. You spelled it wrong one time. It's done. It's the Polaris now. Next week's episode will be a more lore-focused episode. No clue what we're going to talk about, so I'm saying it here, and of course I'll make a post in our Discord. If you guys want to see any specific lore topics you're interested in, sort of either explored or just kind of briefly talked about, let us know, and we can make a plan, see what we can come up with, or yeah, like Shinobi said, just come next week. I'm gonna ramble. But if y'all have anything specifically you're curious about or you want to hear me talk about for whatever reason, let us know.
Idris lore.
And we'll see what we can do. Idris lore. Yeah, I figured. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing Polaris lore. So we'll see. Got another week to figure that out. But okay, actually, I like Valkyrie's suggestion. We're gonna go in depth into the Horus Heresy next week.
Oh no!
Jesus.
Actually, in the Twitch chat here, actually, the history of the drug trade in Star Citizen could actually be interesting because that gets into piracy.
That is very interesting because when you have the ability to come back from the dead, you become desensitized, so the drugs need to be strong. That could be something fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention,
but
we've
yeah,
been fighting over them for what is
A
it?
long time.
4 years?
A
We've been
long
fighting over these
time.
drugs?
Yes.
Yeah, the jump town wars. It's
Yeah.
a thing.
History over generation.
Ooh.
Hey. That's a good one. That one's fun. Plenty of fun topics. I'll look and see what we've got, see some ideas, and we'll come back to that next week.
All right.
Alrighty.
That's all I've got.
Alrighty, and with that, I think that's it's a good spot to wrap up our episode. Thank you for everybody for showing up and participating. I know we didn't bring anybody on today, but it didn't seem like there was anybody itching to see anything or itching to say anything on stream. Ideally not. Ideally we answered the questions you guys were looking for. 10 forward.
We'll say as far as community engagement, Swerve, I might be kidnapping you next week for the episode because I know you do the same thing with the lore that I do. You know like I know. So I might kidnap you next week and have you on for a bit of a guest speaker with that.
Oh man, and it'll be Polaris lore. Whatever you started on, it'll be Polaris lore.
No matter what we start with.
It's only fair.
It is only fair. If he's on the show, he gets to talk about it.
Yeah.
But once again, thank you guys, everybody, for showing up, guys, girls, pink and purple snow leopards. Thank you guys for showing up. We'll see you guys next week at 7 p.m. EST on Saturday. Ideally for 10 forwards, big lore episode, and ideally first of many.
Oh yeah.
That's the goal.
All right. For our members, we're probably going to hop down into an open channel just to talk to everybody, and then we'll see you all there. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye, everybody.